Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Ellsworth, and today we're going to be talking about lesson 3-3, and what we're going to be talking about specifically in this one is to multiply negative and positive fractions, okay? And then sometimes we'll have to substitute those fractions and evaluate them. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so this one is asking you in example number 1, they're asking you to find 1/6 of 2/3, and so this is really 1/6 times 2/3, and so write the product. Product is your answer when you multiply. So you just multiply straight across. So we're going to multiply straight across, and 1 times 2 is 2, okay, and then 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is going to be 18. Okay, make sure that you simplify it. So if they had a negative in front of one of these, it's just like the integers. You would just count the number of negatives that you have. So this would be 1/9. How did I get 1/9? I divided this one by 2. So I have to divide this one by 2. So it is 1/9. Okay, whatever you go and you simplify your fraction with, they must be the same identical numbers. You're actually multiplying this times 1. 2 over 2 is 1, and so that's using one of our properties, one of our identity properties. Okay, so 1/9 is the answer to that one. Okay, let's look at this one. We've got 2/5 times 5/8. So we've got 2/5. I'm just going to write this. Okay, going across we get 10. Then going across we get 40. Okay, and then you got to reduce it, divide it by 10, divide it by 10. So you're just crossing off 2 zeros. You must do it on both of them. You can't do it on just one. And so then your answer is 1/4. Let me show you a little bit of a shortcut here, and if you're fine with it, that's fine. If you want to go and ignore this, then please do that. Notice that we've got a 5 and a 5. So when you really think about this, this was 2 times 5 over 5 times 8. So you could go and reduce some of these. Cancel those ones out. 5 goes into 5 one times, 5 goes into 5 one time. So you're dividing by 5, dividing by 5. Okay? You could even go and reduce this a little bit more. 2 goes into 2 how many times? 1 time. 2 goes into 8 how many times? 4 times. So now you got 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 4 is 4. Do this if you're comfortable with it. I myself like this better because I like smaller numbers. I mean, these weren't bad numbers, but sometimes they get to be icky numbers. Well, okay, look closely to this example right here, and you'll see that we've got 3/4 times a negative 7/9. Oh, I'm worried I'm going to forget that negative, so double check me there at the end with this, okay? Anyway, if you go ahead here and you look at this formula or problem, you're going to go and you take and you multiply these straight across, you get 21. And then I'm going to remember that negative right now. And if you multiply straight across, you're going to get 36. You've got to reduce that. But if you did some reducing first, it would look like this. 3 goes into 3 and 9, right? So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now it's just 1 times 7, 1 times negative 7. They didn't forget theirs either. I always like putting my negative up in the numerator so I don't forget. And then 4 times 3. 4 times 3. Now your book has this for example number 2, and if you want to go and check on how to reduce, your book shows it so that when you're doing your homework you can look at it another time. That's fine, but I would write this down in my notes. Okay, and then so multiply across, you get negative 7 and then 12. Okay, so now you can't simplify that anymore, but look, this right here, if you went and divided this one, divide by 3, divide by 3. Either you're going to do it at the end, or else you're going to do it at the beginning. So you decide what way you want to do that. What have you seen that this is a 3, that 3 goes into this and 3 goes into that one? So that's what you've got to ask yourself with some of those, okay? Okay, moving on to the next problem. Okay, here's another one. I'm going to go ahead and push up the screen here real quick here. Okay, in this one you've got mixed numbers, and mixed numbers cannot work in multiplication. You must have, you must go and change them into top-heavy fractions or improper fractions. So how did they do that again? 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7, so this will be 7/3. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 5 more, which is 19. And so is 19/7. You keep the same denominator. Now you can go multiply straight across, but I myself would want to go and reduce these 7s first. Oh, and the book did too. So they went and divided by 7 for each one of them. That's so nice because you don't have to figure out what 7 times 19 is. You don't have to, then figure out to reduce it. Okay? Notice that they were just the same exact numbers. They both go into each other one time. 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 7 once. So that's why they did that. And then you just multiply straight across. 1 times 19, 3 times 1. And so then now you get 19/3, and then please simplify that into a mixed number. Okay? Not so bad. Check for reasonableness with this. I see that this is like 2 times, what is that going to be? Closer to 3 than it is to 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. Hey, that's reasonable. I forget to do that a lot, so I'm hoping that you don't. Good luck with that, everybody. Okay, here again. Now notice that with these ones, I'm not going to do this. If you want to go and check these, you pause and you check them because the answer is right down here. But notice with this one, got to worry about that negative there at the end, okay? And then with this one, you've got to go and change these into top-heavy fractions when you do them. So if you want to practice that, you go right ahead. The answers are there, so you can check your work. Okay, let's look at this one next. This one is talking about evaluating 1/2 a times b, and then they want you to substitute in for a 6/7, and substitute in for b -4/9. So let's go and rewrite this. 1/2, and I like putting these in parentheses, okay, and then times 6/7, then times, and I always put my negative on top, 4/9. And that is the same thing, whether this negative's here or else on top or else on the bottom. You can only have one negative though. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this some more. So now you're going to multiply straight across. Okay, and in our book they chose to go through and reduce some of them. So 2 will go, wait a minute here. Okay, so I see we've got a 6 and a 9 right here. Those are divisible by 3. So if I divided that by 3, I get a 2. If I divide this one by 3, I get a 3. Then they notice that these two were right here were even, so they can divide them by 2 and divide by 2. Okay, so what will this look like all cleaned up? This would look like 1 times 2 times -2 up there, and then on the bottom it would look like 1 times 7 times 3. Okay, and so then they went through and they multiplied that. Don't forget that doggone negative. Okay, and because now it's reduced if you did that earlier. If you went and did the 24 and then 63 times 2, 126 on the bottom, then you'd have to go and figure out that you got to divide it by 6 each one. You know, because we took divide by 3 and took divide by 4, so the whole thing will be divisible by 6. Okay, try this one. We've got 2/3. Okay, times a -3/4 times a -1/2. Okay, now notice we've got 2 negatives, so our answer will be positive. Okay, and I see that I've also got some 3's in there. So I'm not even going to worry about these two since they both cancel out. I'm just going to not worry about them. But anyway, so this one's divisible by 3, right? And this one's divisible by 2. Okay, so 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And then 1 times 4 times 1. Or maybe I should rewrite that. Okay, and so you get 1/4 out of that. Okay, let's look at one more. Okay, so you've got this first first hill on a roller coaster is 255 feet tall. The first drop on the roller coaster is 11/20 tall. Find the height of the hill for the second roller coaster. So what they want you to do is that they want you to go change this 255 into 255 over 1, because when you multiply, it's kind of like a placekeeper, so it makes you more successful at doing it. So multiplying straight across, you can take a 5 out of this one and a 5 out of that one, I can see. Oh, they did that. So 255 divided by 51, there you go. 220 divided by 5 is that. Now, if you went and multiplied straight across and then saw, hey, I got 2 5s in here, I can divide later on, that's fine too. But there, so you got 11 times 55 and 4 times 1. And there you go. 561 divided by 4, and then go ahead and change it into an improper fraction. Okay? Excuse me, mixed number. Okay, I think that that's it. And I will see you when I see you next. Bye-bye.